What's up, YouTube? I have to redo this whole entire video now because the last time I did this, it didn't record, so I mean, I'm kind of pissed off. But, you know, we'll start it. Fuck it. We'll do it all over again. I fucking hate my computer.
What made him this way? What is the attraction?
That is literally me when I realized that my sound wasn't recording. That was me. This is literally how I feel right now.
What keeps us fascinated? This is the story.
This is not gonna hit the same the first time around, man. The fact that I gotta watch this a second time really sets me off. Oh. Fuck.
Hello, my name is Christian Chandler, age 22 at this time. I will be 23 on February 24th, 2005. Anyway, for over a year now, I've been trying to attract an 18 to 22-year-old boyfriend.
Me too, Chris. Me too. I'm trying to find, like, you know,
which is this year.
They have to at least be my age, and you know, they can't be any younger than 18, of course, because I'm not a pedophile, you know. We have our standards, Chris.
Anywho, been trying for over a year to attract a girl, boyfriend-free girl, and I have failed.
Cause you're a failure.
And you know, we had so many failures at this time.
You really just want to pet your dog, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, here it is, about Christmas time.
Santa better bring some bitches.
And, well, all I want for Christmas
is a big booty hoe.
Girl.
Chris prepares for Christmas 2004 by singing 2 of his songs for the camera. He performs So Need a Cute Girl.
And I need why I need a cute girl my age. Tell me why I'm a virgin with rage. For Christmas is a girlfriend.
Oh, she has to be
82 to 22. That's foreshadowing. Foreshadowing for later because she has to be 82. You feel me? 82.
22. Well, at this time of year, all I can say...
Does he wear that shirt every single day? Like, does he wear that shirt with the fucking medallion every single day? Is that why it's the classic?
I hope Santa will comply with my request and bring me a pretty girlfriend. And so, happy holidays from me, Christian Chandler. By the way, you can call me Chris in public.
The Quickster.
And thank you.
Christian whipped his camera out for Christmas Day too, and documented the state of the house at that time.
'Twas Christmas Day, and all through the house, the creatures that were stirring were my family and me and our 2 cats. And
you know, it's like, now that I think about it, this man is 24 years old and he still believes in Christmas, and let alone not even just Santa, but he also believes that Santa is somehow gonna, you know, magically whip up a fucking magical bitch for him, you know, in his workshop.
We wander upon our wondrous Christmas tree.
And it's Sonichu on the star.
Made so delicately.
See, Sonichu has invaded every single aspect of Chris's life. It's invaded his home life, it's invaded his drawings, it's invaded his video games, it's invaded every single facet of his life. Like, he is obsessed.
The star on top of the tree is in fact Sonichu. Chris reveals that his dreams were dashed that day.
And a Christmas present that was supposed to be for the girlfriend that Santa brought, but unfortunately, she didn't show.
Chris introduces his audience to his parents.
And now we wander in on my family.
Now this is gotta be the most depressing fucking video ever that like one of the most depressing videos I've seen in Chris's early life. Like, this is around the time I feel like Bob and Barbara just kind of gave up on Chris.
Oh, Father.
Like, they kind of are realizing, damn, we fucked around and didn't do anything for all of this time, and now we're dealing with the consequences. And look at that hoarding situation.
Like in our Christmas movie.
I see you wasting your chip.
This man is depressed.
Anyway.
Look at him. He can't even smile.
A smaller Christmas tree down here. And our mother is asleep here in a dark area. Would
That's
you care to
just
share
ominous.
Merry Christmas with the world, Father?
The tour puts a spotlight on the extent of the hoarding situation in the house, as Chris visibly has trouble navigating.
Like she's literally sleeping
Through
on
the
a
holes.
pile
Care
of
to take up to the
garbage.
entire world?
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
After the tour, Chris documents the gift exchange, revealing the interpersonal dynamics of the family.
Okay, yeah, it's recording. So
This
here-
is so depressing. Like there's not any joy anywhere besides maybe on
Go around the
Chris.
Christmas tree. We're gonna open
The-
presents.
The Cwcmas tree. Get that right.
Right.
Chris presents Bob with a card.
I
I'm
did.
supposed to read it?
Yes, read it.
Am I supposed to read it out loud?
Yeah. Read.
This is just so depressing.
It's a
Like
great
look
song.
at this.
I want to thank you all for your support and love throughout my fantastic love quest. Ooh. And if
Like, dude, literally, like, he talks about the love quest with his parents, and they're still actively not doing a goddamn thing, even though anybody with a sane mind would know this is not the right approach to getting a girlfriend.
Santa doesn't
I
bring
don't
me
care how autistic you
one,
are.
No Chris, no Thomas. Like I asked him, then I'm going to need some support finding a boyfriend free. It'll come, Christian. Hope you all like my
Not with that attitude, Chris. Or Bob. You need to teach him.
thinking of Christmas and remembering you all. Merry Christmas, Christian C.
Christian gives Bob the option of receiving the puppet TV show Fraggle Rock on DVD or on VHS. After Christian discreetly implies that he wants to keep the DVD for himself, Bob caves in and chooses to take the VHS.
Yes,
So you want the VHS.
yeah.
Here you go.
It's like he got them gifts that he wants, and they know that, you know, he doesn't give a, they don't give a fuck about these gifts, so they're gonna give them back to him.
I'm not much for the other.
DVD.
Get him a record or something. Like, I feel like I know Bob better than Chris.
You remember the original white DVD? Yeah, it's Fraggle Rock, Father. That's
I
what
feel like this is around the moment where they realize, like, we really fucked up raising this kid. Like, and then they just kind of sit with it.
I see.
everything that's on the DVD is on that VHS.
VHS works better than my system.
Chris presents Barbara with a Lego set.
No boring stuff.
He gives
That's
her
pretty
a plush
boring.
doll of the Japanese character Hamtaro.
I got you, Hamtaro. That's cute. Yeah,
Who is he?
it's a Hamtaro.
Bob is just like, what the fuck is a
We
Hamtaro?
don't ham stuff. He's a little bitty ham stuff.
This is just depressing to watch,
The family
dude.
discuss the possibility of a surprise visit from Sarah.
It's like they don't even need a Christmas. They have already enough of a hoarding problem.
Oh, that's my present for Sarah. Because, you know, she might come over.
I wish you were.
What
Yeah,
she did
she's
last
not
year,
gonna do
remember?
that.
Chris attempts at an embrace with his mother, but ends up hurting her instead.
Here, oops, I'm sorry.
Like, she doesn't even embrace the hug. She just kind of, like, stiffens up and is like,
My head. I'm sorry.
He does it again.
Two boxes together here. I'm sorry.
Chris gives Barb another present. A snow globe with him in it.
No glow. With me in it. Merry Christmas, Robert. It's also got Sonic Shoe in it. Look. See?
like, that's really what they want, is more Sonichu
No, one side, Sonic Shoe on
memorabilia.
the other. That's cool. I got it over at Walmart. The snow globe.
How about that?
Cool. Yeah, that's neat. Merry Christmas. Yep, Merry Christmas. Now we can go back downstairs where it's warm.
Snappy New Year.
Yeah. Snappy New Year, huh?
Not on the couch.
This is so depressing. They don't even try to fake it.
After the gift unwrapping, Christian went back to his room to record a video recapping the events.
Well, now this ends our family Christmas of 2004. I did get some nice gifts, but it does not
It doesn't compare to getting that sweet, sweet pootie tang.
compare to having a boyfriend-free girl that I can make it to a girlfriend.
And if you can't, hey, you Chris, just remember, if you can't find a boyfriend-free girlfriend, you can always become the boyfriend-free girlfriend.
But unfortunately, I was hoping for her to come, but she didn't. My lifelong friend, Sarah Hammer. You know, she had not been paired up with that jerk Wes Isley.
With his big cock.
I could have it, but seriously though,
He could have any bitch he wants,
I
but
wish
she
was
wants
here so that I
her.
could talk to her and so she can help me in my.
Yeah, I'm sure she would love to take her to free time and help you get a boyfriend-free girl, 18 to 22 years old.
Girl.
They can't be a year older.
February 24th, 2005. Well, anyway, that pretty much sums up my Christmas season for this year. So, as they say in showbiz, goodbye, folks.
As he entered
What a
2005,
depressing rap to Christmas.
Christian continued his tried and true tradition of pacing around the mall, hoping to
Like, I don't understand how this didn't pan out for him. Like, it should have on day one. Like, a woman, like, they should have seen.
attract a boyfriend-free girl. His activities quickly caught the eye of Anna McLaren, an
Who she writes a blog about.
employee of Pack and Son at Charlottesville Fashion Square, who described her encounter with him in a blog post titled "The
No
Tale of
lies
the
or
Crazy Pacer."
exaggeration.
There was a guy who paced in front of Abercrombie & Fitch. He'd come and do it for hours on end, just walking back and forth. He was an
Hell nah. So there was two motherfuckers that were walking back and pacing there like creepy as hell. There's Chris and then creepy molester dude. And that's crazy that at this point in time, Chris wasn't looked at as, you know, fundamentally the same fucking thing.
okay-looking guy, not evil-looking like creepy molester dude. So he would pace for his allotted time, then leave. Sometimes, as he paced, he would sing or shout. Nobody really could ever tell what he was saying. Oh yeah, and he always wore the same shirt. A nice little long-sleeved red
Red and blue number. And that's not a crest, that's the Sonichu
and blue
medallion,
number
ho.
that had a gold crest on the left side,
Recognize.
and white collar and cuffs. Then, one day,
Eventually, I guess he got bored of just pacing like that because he started to bring his Game Boy SP with him. He had his headphones hooked up to it so he'd pace like that all the time. His peak hours were usually between 2 and 4, and he usually left by 5.
he decided to start pacing on the Pac Sun side, so he started pacing in front of our store. We were doing floor set, and Lin noticed that crazy pacer kept looking into Pac Sun as he paced. And this day, he was acting particularly crazy. He'd pace and pace, then stop and shout something at the wall, then keep pacing. And he also did some singing, even getting into the vibrato falsetto junks. It was hilarious. So anyways, someone, I can't remember who, suggested that the next time he looked in, we wave at him. So they waved, and Christian waved back.
Whoever suggested it should die unless it was me, in which case I feel I have received enough punishment. Of course, he looked in, we all waved at him. He looked kind of bewildered and sort of scared at first, but quickly caught on and waved back. He then went back to his pacing, but he was looking to pack some with greater frequency now, and anytime anyone would make eye contact with him, he'd wave.
After some waving back and
I had to go get Star and iced tea from Sabaros, so I left and waved at Pacer as I went out. When I came back, he was sitting cross-legged on the floor. He took that initiative and waved at me. I smiled and waved back, but the smile wasn't to be friendly. It was because I thought it was hilarious that he was sitting on the floor like that. Good thing he didn't know the difference.
forth, Christian took the initiative and entered the store. He came right up to the counter that I was standing behind, and he looks right at me, all fidgety and twitchy, and he goes, "You look to be about 19 years old, right?"
Don't answer, woman. You messed up when you answered.
He then proceeded to introduce himself. "My name is Christian," he said, "but you can call me Chris. I'm Christian W. Chandler." "Oh," I said. "Hi, Chris." "So," he continued,
That's such a cringy
"do
line.
angels have names?" I found out later that he meant to say, "Do angels like you have names?" Poor guy was so nervous, he didn't get it right. Anna introduces herself, then Chris talks about eyes. My eyes are two different colors. One of them is
And that's why.
It's green and the other is blue. That's because I had pink eye a while back, and
Like, that's what made him, put in all of his comics that his eyes are blue and green because I had pink eye. And that's not a story you'd want to tell someone on the first day of meeting. I don't know. I mean, that's just me, though.
one of them stayed that way. What color are your eyes? I was pretty grossed out by the pink eye story, but I told him anyway. Sometimes blue, sometimes green, and usually gray. Oh, that's neat. It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Did you get pink eye too, Anna? Yeah, I said.
Yeah, I said. He attempts to ask her out, but Anna declines. He eventually settles on the internet as a forum for future communication between them. Christian came back and handed me a card with a crudely drawn Sonic the Hedgehog and some
If that doesn't make your fucking pussy wet, then I don't know what will.
other yellow Sonic-looking creature on it, along with Christian's name, email address, and website. It was a homemade business card. That's my email address, and you can just email me sometime, okay? Okay, I said, not intending to email him at all. Little did either of them know, but this was the start of a friendship. But
It's gotta be like a trollsome gal pal, I feel like. I mean, maybe she was a nice woman, I don't
for the time
remember.
being, Chris's contact with Anna was sparse. In February, Cartoon Network's Adult Swim block held a contest which asked viewers to make their own commercial advertising the release of the cartoon series Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, Volume 1 DVD set. Christian sent in his own unique take, in which he mentions his ongoing feud with Mary Lee Walsh.
Hello! I hired Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, to help me, Christian Weston Chandler, in my case against Bernie Walsh, who years ago shared my heart.
Like, how are you not gonna let me solicit for sex on fucking school grounds, Mary Lee Walsh? It's like you don't even want me to find love in this universe and you want me to die alone.
And he has won the case for me, and he has won for me. A Harvey Birdman 2-disc DVD box set, which comes out April 12, 2005.
He finishes with a brief promotion of his custom cards depicting himself and Sonichu.
It's about Christian Chandler, Sonic.
You're gonna need Better Call Saul, not Harvey Birdman, for this one with Mary Lee Walsh.
Regrettably, the winning entry did not feature Chris. In response, he vented his frustration at losing on the Adult Swim message board. My entry was very dramatic, and a lot better than that piece of poo, or any of the others that made the top 5 as well. I'm very upset about that. My Quick's Harvey Birdman spot was the best, and I feel sorry for you, Adult Swim.
You know, it's a wonder that Chris has gotten as much, like, screen time on live television as he's gotten anyway.
For not noticing that. You all should take another good look at it, and seriously reconsider. In March, Christian published Sonichu, Issue 0, his first full-length comic. The issue is further divided into episodes, much like a television show, with a different story in each one. Episode 1 begins in an open field 5 miles from the city of Station Square, in which a wild Pikachu observes fighting in the distance between Supersonic and the perfect Chaos Monster. Pikachu gets caught in the scuffle and collides with Sonic, the impact releasing a rainbow which lands on a girl Raichu 15 miles away, who then transforms into a hedgehog-like creature and calls herself Rosechu. Meanwhile, the Pikachu somehow inherited Supersonic's powers in changed form and joins Sonic in the battle, defeating the perfect Chaos Monster. He christens himself Sonichu. Christian himself interjects here and there. He draws himself having one blue and one green eye, as he had told
It's from the pink eye, if you remember earlier. That's why.
Anna. His eyes are in fact different colors, but the difference is nowhere near as profound as in his illustrations. He then proceeds to introduce Quickville, and reveals that he is also the mayor of said town. He then goes on to introduce all the main characters of the story, including Mary Lee Walsh. He saves himself for last, and devotes a full page to talk about Christian Weston Chandler. The next episode concerns Sonichu and Rosechu meeting and quickly falling in love, sharing a kiss underneath a spray of fireworks. In episode 3, Sonichu confesses that he has a dislike for pickles, as does Christian in real life. This is followed by the introduction of the evil foe, Natesurk, whose name is simply Christian, backwards. After the battle is won, Mayor Chandler drives off in his car, carrying the Virginia vanity plate, Sonichu, identical to the one on his real-life car. It should
That's crazy that he had the Sonichu nameplate too.
be noted that Sonichu refers to Chris as his father, even though his creation has nothing to do with Christian. The comic ends with a sub-episode starring Chris in a story based on his run-in with the mall police. However, in this version, he clutches his medallion, says Electric Hedgehog Power, and transforms into Chris Chan Sonichu, who largely looks like a blue-colored Sonichu, making him look like the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Meanwhile, the Jerkop equips metal armor. Needless to say, Chris defeats him by cursing him into experiencing horrendous bad luck by using his Curse Yehameha attack. Towards the end of March, Hannah, who worked at Starbucks in the Fashion Square, approached Christian during his near-daily pacing and asked him out on a date. After she left, I became very excited.
The first of many trollsome gal pals.
And oh my god, all over. After calling Mom and eating me nuggets, I lifted the chair with such cheer and grace and spun around with it like a dancer. Then I put it back where it was. I felt that my love quest had finally come to an end.
This is like fucking over the top.
And I so elated that my shattered heart had a full, fast recovery. I went to Starbucks, and we talked about basic things. I showed her my Sonichu scrapbook. She was very impressed.
Yes, very impressed.
I gave her my email and both my phone numbers on a Sonichu site card, and she gave me her email address. I was very attentive as I took notes about her and maintained eye contact. As I left her, I gave her a double-take flirt. That was the rise, now here comes the fall. As I was sitting at my spot, thinking about future steps for later dates, Anna and Dana told me they went to talk to Hannah. She told them that she was setting me up in a prank. I could not believe it, so I found
How could you not believe that?
and asked Hannah. Sadly,
Huh? Yeah, I actually am tricking you.
it was true. Then in major shock, my heart shattered again by 85%, and I let out a big no.
No!
His outburst of negation resulted in
You really did a Darth Vader ass fucking no! Like, yeah, that's gonna get
Chris
you
getting
kicked
banned
out.
from the mall again. He devoted the second sub-episode to this misadventure. Not long after, he completed his second Sonichu comic, Sonichu Issue 1. Pokemon's Giovanni teams up with Sonic villain Dr. Robotnik to create their own Sonichu in order to defeat the real thing. Unfortunately, a blunder causes Sonichu's DNA sample to get corrupted with cherry cola, producing an imperfect replica of our hero, called Black Sonichu, also known as Blotchu. Blotchu captures Rosechu, so Sonichu and Sonic team up to rescue her. After combating Blotchu and the new Metal Sonichu, they eventually save Rosechu. The style of the comic became more text-heavy, with some conversations so convoluted that Chris numbered the lines in the order that
I do not want to read this again. I
they
feel...
should be read. The following month, Chris's review for Sprung, a dating simulation game for Nintendo DS, was published in Nintendo Power. I originally bought the game because I needed some lessons on what to say to, or do for, a girl. To make a long story short, I developed a fear that all the pretty girls are already paired up with a boyfriend. I've dubbed this social phobia noiophobia, after the Spanish word for boyfriend.
All girls have a boyfriend. The girl was just born yesterday. She has a boyfriend.
Wait, before Sprung, I was afraid to approach most women. FYI, I am 22 years old. I tried to silently attract a boyfriend-free girl, mostly with signs, for over 1 year and 4 months.
You'd think that would work, you know, after a year and a half of doing it. Psych.
Then Sprung provided me with general things to say and do, so I felt more confident. When I tried my newfound expressions from the dating simulator, I forgot my fear of the infinitely high boyfriend factor, and I met a couple of lady friends with whom I feel more comfortable. So thank you Nintendo and Ubisoft for the dating advice that this frustrated virgin needed. Christian C. On April 13th, a University of Virginia student wrote a blog post that included her observations of Christian, whom she renamed Sonichu, hanging around the Alderman Library. So Sonichu returned to Alderman today. I'm not sure what to make of him. He sits in his chair and draws his Sonichu comics. Harmless, I ask me. Yet I feel like he knows he's different. He knows that the world rushing in front of him is not his own, surrounded by the brightest students in America, whatever that means. He sits in his chair and draws. 23 years old. I'm not sure he even graduated high school. In front of him, texts of Plato, Faulkner, God, and Kleist swirl. Does he have the capacity to understand these works? Whether he can or not, I am not sure. But there is something in his eyes that realizes that there is a level of understanding and thought that he is unable to partake in. As he slumps lower and lower in his chair, with each student he eyes reading or holding a book, he falls into himself, into the markers and colors on the page in front of him. He seems intelligent enough to understand that he does not understand, and that is the hardest part of all.
That is like one of the harshest roasts ever.
In early May, Chris released Sonichu Issue 2. This marks a turning point in the comic as the story begins to focus on Christian rather than Sonichu. Episode 7 concerns the Antuant Prophecy. When Sonic explains the mysterious prophecy to Christian, Chris reaffirms that he is the creator and father.
Sonichu, you found a cave and an old man guarding it. The old man elaborated that you are the prophesized. That you are the prophesized creature, and since I am your creator and father, I am the prophesized master, and I am able to receive special powers by entering the cave with you and the cavekeeper. I mean, that's a lot of exposition that I feel like Sonichu is supposed to tell me.
Of Sonichu. They enter the Destiny Cave and unknowingly release an ancient evil power. Chris also meets an
You fucked up. You're always
ancient
unleashing
leader of the
ancient
Cherokee
powers.
clan, who reveals that
And the leader of the Cherokee clan looks like a white guy with Sonichu antlers or some shit.
Chris is his reincarnation. He is told that he has to unleash ancient powers to defeat the evil by using his Sonichu medallion to transform into Chris Chan's Sonichu. The story ends in a cliffhanger, with Sarah Hammer and Wes Isley getting possessed by mysterious forces. Between episodes 7 and 8, Chris inserts an advertisement for Axe body spray, in which, ignorant of the societal norms of hygiene, unknowingly confesses that he believes that bathing makes people smell exceptionally nice, to the point that people would
Hell nah.
compliment you, and that using Axe body spray is just as effective as bathing.
That's what everyone who uses Axe body spray thinks.
Episode 8 continues with Wes meeting his past self, who is a member of the Wasabi clan, and turns into Wesley Sonichu and vows to kill Chris. Sarah also sees
Because why would he? Wouldn't
a
he?
vision and meets the queen of the Cherokee clan and transforms into Sarama Rosechu. Meanwhile, Chris Chan Sonichu accidentally transforms back into his human self, leaving him vulnerable to attack from Wesley Sonichu, who turns himself into a ball and goes for a flying attack, prompting this exchange from the protagonists. What the? Sonichu, run! You don't have to tell me twice, but during the Stone Age,
What does that even fucking mean?
Chris figures out that his attacker is Wes Isley and confesses how jealous he is of him for being with Sarah, who is
If that wasn't already clear by him making you into a cartoon
eavesdropping
character.
nearby. Wesley reveals that he only wants to steal the Cherokean crown. Chris changes into Chris Chan
I don't give a fuck about Sarah, I just want that Cherokee crown.
and fights Wesley Sonichu, who eventually knocks Chris out and steals the crown, which inexplicably just came into being. Before Wesley can finish him off, Sarama intervenes and fires a lightning bolt arrow at Wesley, pinning him to an unsacred tree. In the final episode, Sarah breaks up with Wes, who cries out no while shrugging. They learn that Quickville, which is a vibrant community with happy people, cool chicks, business, and a frustrated male, is under attack from a giant stone golem, which is under the control of Mary Lee Walsh and a mysterious talking orb. So Chris Chan, Sarama, and Wesley fly over there to fight them. The orb reveals itself as the ancient evil and announces that he is Count Graduan, who is a personification symbolizing the pain and sadness of Christian graduating from high school.
Hell nah, Count Graduan, who represents the pain and sadness of him leaving high school. That was probably the last good time Chris ever had in his entire life, like ever, period afterwards. It makes
The
sense
three
that he's a
heroes beat them
villain.
off for a little while, but Walsh and Graduan escape.
But Walsh, I love how Walsh, she just didn't want him to solicit sex on fucking school grounds, and like all of a sudden now she's a long-standing villain in his comic book series. And she probably lived her whole life not knowing this shit.
Vowing to fight another day. In the epilogue, Christian and Sarah chat on the couch, and unfortunately for Chris, she reveals that she has found herself another boyfriend named William, and thanks Chris for being a great friend. Christian dedicates an entire page to Sarah Hammer, his lifelong friend.
Hell no, he gave her entire name, her address. You might as well, put her, not her address, her birthday, but you might as well put her address there. One time she tried to teach me to roller skate, but I fell and cried so hard and gave up it hurt a bit. What a pussy. Had fun chatting on the swing built for two.
And offers some highlights of their time together.
Our last childhood memory was before I moved to Richmond for middle school and high school.
Currently, I don't get to see he as much as I did, because she found herself a boyfriend while I was in Richmond. But I often wonder how she is, and if she is happy with him. I share my troubles with her in my illustrations, letters, and over the phone. I always appreciate the little moments I have with her. The final page is a call to action for all.
He wants Sonichu to be on more than just paper. He wants him on video games, cartoon shows, and other fine merchandise. I promise you, Chris, you're not gonna get that, but you're gonna do that.
Sonichu fans, in which Chris expresses his wish to have Sonichu produced into a bona fide franchise by Nintendo America. The comic concludes with Sub-Episode 3, which is a dramatic reimagining of Chris's conflict with Mary Lee Walsh, who is the head of the private villa of corrupted citizens, the base of operations for the villain.
She is literally Satan.
In the Sonichu universe, the name of which is derived from the acronym of Piedmont, Virginia Community College. With Sonichu Issue 2, Christian comes closer to blurring the line between real life and his comic book world, creating his own reality. In Sonichu's News Dash Issue 9, Chris announced that he will attend the Anime Mid-Atlantic Convention in Richmond, Virginia on all 3 days. Since he has put himself into Sonichu's world, he will cosplay as himself. Talk about self-respect, huh? Also, he will be watching some of the good anime, getting some souvenirs, participating in some of the events, and just having a good time. Also, he will have some printed copies of Sonichu Premiere Issue 0 on hand. But if you want a collectible copy, you will have to...
He spent so much time making... I wonder how much time he's just put into, making Sonichu shit.
To find him and ask for one. He stayed 2 nights alone in a hotel room, and during the convention, he handed out copies of Sonichu Issue 0 to unsuspecting attendees. On June 22nd, Christian recounted the events of the past 2 days. I had my setup at the McDonald's at Walmart, and apparently complaints were made. The 2 manager-jerks, a senior comic, and a black, fat jerk. He looked a lot like the leader of the jerk cops at the mall, whom I refer to now as the Jerk Keef, approached me and took me for a fall with my trying to find a boyfriend-free girl, like I have been doing for the past...
dude, why are you trying to stop me from my mission? I'm out here on the prowl, and you guys are trying to fuck up my energy.
Over 1 year and 10 months. We argued and disputed until the 2 of them left to call the police. While they were
That's it, I'm calling the police.
gone, I had taken off the sign from my Nintendo
Oh no,
DS
he knew what he was doing was wrong, so he hid it.
and hidden it on the back cover of my diary. When the jerk cops came, they were all like, "What seems to be the problem?" And the married Saynor comic was like, "Where's the sign?" And I was, "What sign?" And another argument was had between the 4 of us, in which I never gave any of those jerks eye contact.
It's not because I'm a coward and can't look them in the eyes. It's because they didn't deserve my eye contact.
Because none of them deserved it. So, I got kicked out from the McDonald's, not the Walmart, for the rest of the day. Now for what happened today. I was starting to set up my things, and the B manager was getting in my face. I feel that he really hates me.
You hate me so much for loitering. Why do you hate me? What's wrong with you?
And he was like, "Don't set up your stuff. Don't push me." I was not going to use the Nintendo DS sign today anyway, but he did not want my pixel block sculptures at all. I stood up against that man-a-jerk. I continued to build, and I dictated my situation into his face with a song and dance. He went up to the Walmart man-a-jerk, and he was like, "Hey, let's talk." But I sat silent for a minute. Then I said to him, "I do not speak to any
I hate all men, and they've taken all the pretty girls, leaving me with none. Not a single one.
man other than myself, because they all have taken all the pretty girls, leaving me with none."
Zilch.
Verbal combat had started, and during the fight, I ran off, still giving verbal punishment, as well as the finger, and many curse-ye-hame-ha's. I nearly backed up onto him with my car, and I gave him another finger. Then I dashed off. Now, I feel sad,
That would be the funniest thing ever to see.
because I've nowhere else to go to attract a boyfriend-free girl. And I feel very furious with those man-a-jerks and all men other than myself and my father. Chris began believing that there was a conspiracy involving all the men in his town. They all are against me in finding a girlfriend of my own, but I will not give up on my long and tedious love
I'll never give up.
quest. I'll find a new attraction spot, somewhere in Charlottesville, Virginia. There has to be at least one 18 to 23-year-old
At least just
boyfriend-free,
one
caring,
that doesn't
smoke-free,
smoke.
non-alcoholic, white
So you're not gonna, I mean, you might find a boyfriend-free girl, but you're not gonna find one that's smoke-free and non-alcoholic. And why does she have to be white? Also,
girl out there
why
somewhere.
does she have to be white?
Chris dramatized this entire ordeal in
Well, it's been over 1 year and 10 months now since I started my love quest. I still haven't found an 18 to 23-year-old surprise boyfriend-free girlfriend, non-smoke, build a relationship from the ground up with. I detest men. Like, he really hates men for his inability to understand. Except for my father and me. I don't hate myself, like, because they take all the pretty girls, and I don't take any of the pretty girls. Leave me with none. Not a single one. This sucks. I'm very lonesome, and there are people around here who do what they can to keep me from getting one. Actively. I feel the world is against
sub-episodes
me.
4 and 5. But his adaptation also featured the manifestation of his dream sibling, Chris.
Who he later become to be, because, you know, that's who he feels he is inside, is a crystal.
His twin sister. A mere month later, he caused more trouble, but this time at Target, where he sat waiting to encounter a boyfriend-free girl for hours, taking gross advantage of the free refills at
This is a great setup. The open bar, the path to the exit, $1 for the free refills, and all the ladies have to walk by me. I'm basically guaranteed to get a boyfriend-free girlfriend that's 18 to 23 years old, especially since the love quest has been going on for about 2 years now.
at his disposal. I was at the new Target store, just hanging around, not bothering anyone. And, from out of the blue, these two managers asked me to leave because they said I was loitering. I was not. I was there hoping to find an 18
I've only been here for like 5 hours looking for a boyfriend-free girlfriend, just chugging these free refills. The fuck do you mean I'm loitering? You're just trying to stop me from getting my bitches that I deserve.
year-old boyfriend-free girl, like I usually do. Then, from out of the blue, after I told them off, they came back with 2 jerk-cops. I was slightly intimidated, but mostly annoyed and ready to strike back on them. They asked me to leave and never return. I did not want to leave. I would have left peacefully. In fact,
Is that a black guy on a robot?
I was ready to go, but I had a prepared speech to say to them stupid jerk-cops. And, during the middle of my speech, they chased me, pulled my pants, and pinned me to the floor. 5 jerk-cops dogpiled on
They
me
pulled
as I
my
struggled
pants
to get
down
free.
and raped me. Like,
1,000
what the
pounds of
fuck?
sausages on my 180-pound body was seriously a cutoff for my
There's
breathing
no way that you're 180 pounds, Chris.
flow. They handcuffed my wrists and legs, and they hog-tied me. Not only did I feel humiliated from being the victim, but I was angry at them, not only for handcuffing me, but once again thwarting my efforts in trying to find a boyfriend-free girl. They drove me to the county jail, but fortunately, they did not keep me there. I was released to my family. Chris was charged with trespassing and disorderly conduct. It was terrible, but my mother and I are going to get back at them in court. In fact,
See, and that's one of the problems with Barb and Bob is instead of like being like, yo, Chris, this was not okay. We need to teach you some fucking manners. They were like, no, it's their fault. It's everyone else besides you, Chris. Like, every single time.
I learned that the jerk cop who arrested me was called Baggett. That was the only thing about the situation that was hilarious. Replace the B with an F, and you can see how funny it was. However, after attending 2 court hearings, the charges were dropped. This event was recreated in Sonic 2 sub-episodes 7 and 8, but in Chris's reality, he endured much greater torment, and came out victorious in the end. Less than a week later, Chris had another run-in with the law. This time, a minor fender bender when he rear-ended the car in front of him. He was fined $30 and also paid $56 in court costs.
That's it?
In August, Christian returned to PVCC after the end of his 1-year suspension. It was around this time that Anna announced that she was moving to Utah. Her announcement also somewhat coincided with her 20th birthday, so Christian and her friends organized a birthday/farewell party for her, with Chris claiming that he picked out and bought the cake himself. Throughout August and September, Chris engaged in back-and-forth conversations via MySpace with 2 female students, Jelena and Lindsay, but despite all his efforts to meet with them, it ultimately came to nothing. In September, Chris finished Sonichu Issue 4, which was merely a compilation of sub-episodes 1 through 8. He claimed that his mother didn't want him making any more stories concerning his own life, so he obeyed and stopped making sub-episodes. In October, a user on a Sega forum began a discussion thread about Sonichu, in which members discussed the comic and Christian's personal antics. This was the earliest documented online discussion concerning Christian, but the original Sega forum hosting site has since been shut down and there is no known archive of the discussion chain.
The first one ever.
In November, Shoujo Beat, a manga anthology magazine, published Chris's letter which vaguely concerned the manga Absolute Boyfriend. Riko Izawa in Absolute Boyfriend sort of has the same problem I do. She can't get a guy, and I can't get a girl. Here's my sitch. All the pretty girls are already paired up with some jerk, leaving me with none to choose from. Also,
Not a single
nobody
one.
can tell, off the bat, a paired up from a boyfriend-free girl. At first, it's equally hard for Riko to find a girlfriend-free boy, but then she's granted this wish, where she gets a girlfriend-free boy, although he is a robot, delivered to her doorstep. Lucky girl. I'm 23 years old. One would think I'd have gotten a girlfriend by now, but no, I haven't. I'm stuck in the situation where if my parents should pass away, I will be a very lonely virgin.
Let's just say that once Bob passes away, you won't be a lonely virgin any longer.
Some months later, a fellow reader sent in a reply to Chris. Why is he only looking for pretty girls? There are plenty of girls who are not supermodel gorgeous whom he could date. It's not the outside of the package that counts, but the inside. A girl can be pretty on the outside, but might be mean or self-centered or have other problems, whereas another girl can be plain or even ugly on the outside, but quite a beautiful, kind, intelligent person on the inside. If more guys would think about what qualities they look for in a girl and make sure those qualities don't just focus on her outer appearance, they might just find a girl to go out with. Otherwise, many girls will think, why bother? He'll just leave me for the next pretty girl he sees. Megan agreed with her sentiment. Chris's advances towards Megan intensified, as is documented in their emails. She declined giving out her phone number, and later in the same email, also declined his invitation to go out to a restaurant. In an email from December, she stated that she did not appreciate Christian trying to kiss her, and admitted that she is not interested in a relationship, but insisted they can remain as friends.
That's where you fucked up, Megan. You should have just been like, yo, this is fucking creepy, and cut him off.
She also confessed to accidentally discovering that he bought Megan an
Every nice woman has always regretted it when it came to Chris Chan.
Nintendo DS, even though she had recently just gotten
And
one
that's
herself.
why he only had
Through
trolls and
Megan,
gal pals.
Chris was introduced to My Little Pony and Sailor Moon, with Megan providing him with some of her own fan art. He also began making his own custom My Little Pony figures, including one that he made using his own hair.
Oh my
As an adult
god.
male fanatic of My Little Pony, He preceded the so-called brony culture, which would only begin to blossom around 5 years later. Meghan also requested him to bid on a collection of World War II photos on eBay, of which Chris was the winning bidder. In 2006, Christian's online spending habits intensified.
What the fuck? What do you need World War II photos for?
Figures, pornography, and sex toys, among
Bootylicious love doll. So what? That's $20 for a sex doll? And then he bought pearl beaded prolong ring. Ooh, what the fuck?
things. In February of 2006, Christian finished drawing Sonichu Issue 3, which took 7 months to complete.
Obviously.
The comic begins with the origin stories of each member of the chaotic combo, whose eggs were created in and ejected from the rainbow as seen in Episode 1. The green egg lands in the jungle. The electric hedgehog Pokemon that came out of it grows up to become Wild Sonichu.
The leaf's essential. Don't forget that.
And is rescued by the Pokemon Swampert, which takes it to the beach just in time for it to hatch and become Bubbles Rosechew. The white egg lands in front of a church, and out of it hatches Angelica Rosechew, who is raised by nuns. Mystifyingly,
who is
after she
raised by
evolves into her
nuns?
final form overnight, Christian is outside her window, bringing her a scrunchie and a pair of shoes as a gift. The red egg crashes into Nabe's dojoshin and hatches. For some reason, Nabe is compelled to rip off the Sunny's tail.
What a fucked up guy. How are you just gonna rip off a Sonichu's tail like that?
Causing him to instantly evolve into Punchy Sonichu. The purple egg hatches in a cave, and the purple Sunny starts to telepathically communicate with the Pokemon Mewtwo, who decides to mentor it. For months, this mysterious mentor taught the Sunny how to hone his pores, lift objects mentally and physically, and whoot, the outside world was like.
So do you not
Until
know how to
one day,
lift objects
during
before
meditation, the Sunny suddenly evolves into Magichan Sonichu. He then farts. The episode ends with a final bulletin which would have been more suitable for a televisual feast rather than a comic book. Stay tuned for when these hedgehogs meet. In the next episode, Blotchu steals a Master Sunstone and through a comedy of errors is met with 4 of the chaotic combo.
Fucking
Eventually,
Punchy.
the 5-member troupe teams up with Sonichu and they take down Blotchu, leaving him in a bloody mess, accompanied by a tweet tweet sound effect, commonplace
This is probably the last comic that was like actually about Sonichu.
cartoons. The comic closes with a fake ad for a call service that would send one of the 2 single men in the world a beautiful girlfriend or a monkey. In May 2006, Christian attained a CAD degree after 5 years of study, even though it should have only taken 2. For the graduation ceremony, he decided to wear the robe from his high school graduation instead. Now that Christian received this qualification, this made him more likely to get a job and advance his life towards building up a career.
That pose, like, oh, you know I'm that dude. I'm gonna read off some comments, and I just hope to Jesus this recorded properly. It's truly mind-boggling to realize that Bob saw the Great Depression, Nazis, first-hand war in Korea, and Sonichu all in one lifetime. I feel like a lot of people gloss over the fact that the age of 24, if my parents were to pass away, I will be a very lonely virgin. Holy fuck, there isn't a wine in existence that ages as well as that quote. Chris's dad seemed to be the most depressed man I've ever seen. Someone who hates his life but wants to and has to support his family. I can't believe Chris Chan actually did the Darth Vader no. That's what I'm saying. The fact that at the age of 24, Chris still believes in Santa. The entirety of Edgar Allan Poe's life was probably less depressing than the Christmas morning video. I really like the implication that if a boyfriend-free girl approached Chris with affection but was just a year older than him, he'd immediately reject her advances. Barb says Merry Christmas to Robert, and it's literally so sad. There's literally so much sadness in her voice that it shines light in the state of both of their lives. The both of them know their son is beyond repair and are forever trapped in this house full of trash until one of them or all of them die. They lack the motivation to educate and help their son change for the better, and they both know that this is the price they pay for it. That's what I'm saying. As much as Bob and Barb willed this onto themselves, that Christmas video is legitimately mortifying to watch. I think that's the moment they realized it was all over. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like how many side characters in Chris's life are normal, average people, but because they interacted with Chris at one point, their life they are known on the internet. God, yeah, we'll end it here. This is a good video. If you liked it, give me a subscribe, give me a like, and I'll see you in the next one.